Breaking Israel-Hamas war, Israeli military operations in Gaza will escalate. IDF warns Israeli military operations in the Gaza Strip will escalate, the country's chief military spokesperson has warned, as troops push deeper into the region. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Israel Defense Forces, DF, troops are deployed along the northern border and prepared for any scenario. Dozens of militants were killed overnight, he added, but he refused to confirm the location of the ground forces after social media footage appeared to show tanks advancing on a main road in Gaza. Israel-Gaza latest, IDF in direct contact with Hamas. Israeli advances put their forces on both sides of Gaza City and surrounding areas of the north, in what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a second stage in the war. Our activities and operations will continue and escalate according to the stages of the war, Mr. Hagari said. This is an expanded ground operation into the Strip. Ground forces, tanks, infantry forces, armored corps forces are moving towards the terrorists. In other key developments, a German-Israeli woman kidnapped from a music festival by Hamas fighters has been found dead, Israel's foreign ministry says. A 25-year-old man is in a critical condition after a stabbing in Jerusalem, according to medics. Anti-Israel protesters stormed a runway in Russia, reportedly chanting anti-Semitic slogans and looking for passengers on a flight from Tel Aviv. British citizens trapped in Gaza could be classed as hostages, a minister suggests. UN and medical staff warned airstrikes are getting closer to hospitals, where thousands are wounded and tens of thousands have sought refuge. According to UN figures, about 117,000 displaced people are staying in hospitals alongside thousands of patients and staff. The terrorists grouped together in certain areas to try to target our forces and we attack them from the air. That's how we managed to assault and target 20 terrorists. There is also direct contact between the ground forces and the terrorists. The fighting is going on inside the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, talks to free the 239 hostages held by Hamas since the group's October 7 attack in Israel have stalled, according to NBC News, Sky's U.S. partner network. The report refers to a former U.S. official with knowledge of the negotiations, who said the militant group had demanded Israel allow fuel deliveries into Gaza. Tank blocks key escape road as Israel presses ahead. Video obtained by the Associated Press shows an Israeli tank and bulldozer in central Gaza. They appear to be blocking the territory's main north-south highway, which the Israeli military had told Palestinians to use to escape the ongoing ground offensive. Asked if forces were on the road, Mr. Hagari said Israel has expanded operations but would not comment on specific deployments. The video shows a car approaching a barrier across the road, before turning around. The tank appears to open fire as it heads away and an explosion sets the car on fire. The Gaza Health Ministry later said 3 people were killed, and now reports 8,306 Palestinians have died in total. The video shows a car approaching a barrier across the road, before turning around. The tank appears to open fire as it heads away and an explosion sets the car on fire. The Gaza Health Ministry later said 3 people were killed, and now reports 8,306 Palestinians have died in total. More than 1,400 people have died on the Israeli side, according to the country's government, with mainly civilians killed during Hamas' initial attack. Stabbing in Jerusalem. As the conflict in Gaza continues to cause tension elsewhere, a 25-year-old man was stabbed in Jerusalem on Monday, according to an Israeli volunteer emergency service. A spokesperson for Ihud Hatzalah said volunteers had provided the man with first aid. When we arrived at the scene, we encountered a stab wound in his upper body. We gave him first medical aid at the scene and then he was taken in a police ambulance to the Hadassah Harat Esaf Hospital, where his condition at this stage is determined to be critical, they said. Sky News correspondent Cordelia Lynch, who is in Jerusalem, said a large crowd had gathered, and a number of security forces arrived. She understands the injured man was a border police officer and was stabbed by a Palestinian man, who is now dead.